I don't usually keep a journal. I used to think it was something only bored teenagers or people trying to trick themselves into being productive did. But something about today, it just felt off. Not dramatically, not in a "the sky turned red and my reflection blinked" kind of way. Just subtly wrong. Like a painting slightly tilted on the wall of your mind. You can ignore it, but it nags at you. The day started the same as it always does. 7:23 a.m., alarm blaring like a siren through my skull. I hit snooze, then lie there too long, scrolling through nothing on my phone until I realized I'd made myself late again. Shower. Toothbrush clenched between my teeth while I yanked on yesterday's shirt. Black coffee, 1 sugar, and the stale banana from the counter that's been about to go bad for 4 days. Outside, the air smelled faintly like someone else's toast. A couple argued on the sidewalk, something about a dog and whose turn it was to walk it. That happens almost every morning. The bus was 3 minutes late. That also happens every morning. At work, the usual parade of small talk. Melissa from HR said, "Happy Wednesday," which I appreciated because I hadn't even known what day it was until she said it. John told me the same dumb joke about the vending machine being haunted. He says it ate his dollar. I laughed anyway. Habit. I spent most of the afternoon fixing a spreadsheet that someone else had broken and blamed on me. I didn't fight it. No point. I don't even really mind anymore. The rhythm of these days is oddly comforting, annoying, predictable, repetitive. I know what to expect. I know how to get through it. Tonight, I microwaved leftover lasagna, watched half an episode of some crime show, then stared at the ceiling for 20 minutes before deciding I'd try writing this. I don't know why. Maybe I just needed to record it. The texture of this day felt like a copy of a copy. Like déjà vu stretched into hours. But it was just a normal day. I'll probably laugh about this tomorrow. If tomorrow feels any different. This morning started the same way. 7:23 a.m. alarm. Same screeching tone. Same resistance in my bones. Same gray light leaking through the blinds. My hand moved automatically. Snooze. Scroll. Nothing new. But then I noticed something weird. The same exact news headline as yesterday. City Council deadlocked over parking ordinance vote. Same words. Same photo of a red-faced guy mid-speech. At first I thought I'd accidentally opened an old page. Maybe I never refreshed. But then it wasn't just the news. Same toast smell on the street. Same couple, same sidewalk, same argument. "It's your turn, I did it yesterday." "You said that last time, Mark?" Mark. Yeah. I remembered that. The same words. Not similar. Word for word. Same inflection. I stopped walking for a second. Just stood there, looking at them. They didn't even glance at me. I shook it off. At the bus stop, same guy with the trench coat coughing into his elbow. Same car honking too aggressively at a cyclist. Same 3-minute delay. I sat in the same seat, behind the same man who smells like menthol cigarettes and oranges. Work was where the knot in my stomach started to really twist. Melissa from HR passed by and smiled. "Happy Wednesday." No. No way. I checked the date on my phone. Wednesday. Same date. John came by my desk holding a crumpled dollar. "Think the vending machine ghost is hungry today?" I stared at him. "Seriously? You said that yesterday." He blinked. "No, I didn't. First time today. It's not just déjà vu. This is exactly the same day. Every detail. Every sound." I tested it, opened the spreadsheet I'd worked on yesterday, and it was untouched. Broken, just like before. Even the stupid banana was back on the counter when I got home, same brown spot on the side. I didn't microwave the lasagna tonight. I didn't turn on the TV. I just sat there. Trying to think. Did I hit my head and forget? Is this a dream? Or is something wrong? I wrote yesterday's entry. It's still here. Still dated yesterday. But everything else, repeated. If it happens again tomorrow, I'll know I'm not imagining it. It happened again. 7:23 a.m. alarm. Same tone, like a knife in my skull. My hand moved before I was fully awake. Snooze. Scroll. Same news. City Council deadlocked over parking ordinance vote. Red-faced man mid-speech. My heart dropped the second I saw it. I checked the date. Still Wednesday. I didn't get up right away. Just lay there staring at the ceiling, trying to figure out if I was sick. Really sick. Like the kind of sick where you end up in a white room with nothing sharp. I rubbed my temples. Maybe this was a stress thing. Maybe I'd finally cracked. But then the toast smell. The couple. You said that last time, Mark? I didn't even stop this time. Just walked past like I was stepping through a scene I'd memorized in a play. I tried to break the pattern. Didn't take the bus, walked instead. It took 40 minutes and my shoes were soaked by a sudden downpour. Didn't matter. I got to work, soaked to the bone, and there was Melissa. Happy Wednesday! Same smile. Same tone. I stopped her this time. Do you remember what day it was yesterday? She laughed. Tuesday. Why? She said it with such confidence it chilled me. Are you sure? Yes? She tilted her head. Are you okay? I walked away without answering. John still made the vending machine joke. I stared him down and said, You said that yesterday. He just looked confused. You alright, man? It's like they reset. Everything resets, but only I remember. I deleted all the spreadsheets. Emailed my boss something weird just to see what would happen. Left work early. Went to a movie I've never seen before. The guy at the ticket counter told me it came out a month ago. Never heard of it. Didn't matter. Tonight, bananas still on the counter. Lasagna in the fridge. Same crime show queued up, still at the halfway mark. I don't know how to explain it. I don't think I'm dreaming. It's too sharp. Too textured. I can feel the dampness in my socks from the walk. I have the stub from the movie ticket in my pocket. This is real. The day is real. It just won't end. Wednesday again. I don't even feel surprised anymore. Just hollow. Like I've been shoved into a loop so tight it's starting to squeeze the air out of me. 7:23 a.m. alarm. I let it ring this time. Just lay there, staring at the ceiling, listening to the shrill note drill into my skull until the battery died. It didn't even matter. I already knew how the day would go. The script was etched in my bones. But I tried again. Different approach. This time, I skipped everything. No coffee. No brushing teeth. No shower. Just threw on a hoodie and went out, like I was daring the world to notice. But the world didn't blink. The couple argued, word for word. Same garbage bags on the corner. Same coffee cup crushed by the curb. I ran this time. Full sprint away from my street, turned into an alley I don't usually notice. Cut through places I don't normally go. I thought, maybe if I get far enough, maybe if I completely unstick myself from the routine, it'll break. I didn't even go to work. Went to the library, wandered for hours. Stared at books. Tried to talk to strangers. One woman smiled politely and walked away. A guy looked at me like I was panhandling. At noon, I watched the sky. Even the clouds are the same, like someone painted them on cellophane and hung them just right. Went home eventually. The banana was still there. I threw it out. I wanted to scream. Smash things. But what's the point? Tomorrow, today, whatever this is, it'll all come back. I even tried to stay awake last night. Thought maybe if I never fell asleep, the day couldn't restart. But I must have dozed off at some point. I don't even remember closing my eyes. I keep thinking about choice. If everything resets, is anything I do real? And if no one remembers what I change, am I still real? I did everything wrong today. Not just different. Wrong. Woke up and smashed the alarm with a hammer. Just to see if it would stay broken. Spoiler, It won't. I skipped the street. Didn't want to see the couple again. Took the fire escape instead, climbed down into the alley barefoot. My feet hurt. Still do. Glass maybe? Doesn't matter. I stole a car. Actually hotwired a piece of junk Corolla some guy left idling near a corner store. Never done anything like that in my life. Heart was hammering so hard I thought I'd pass out. I drove until the city thinned out. Past the suburbs. Into dead fields. I didn't even know where I was going, just away. But here's the thing. The sky stayed the same. The whole way. That weird cloud shaped like a hook? It was still there. The exact same. No matter how far I drove. Like I was inside a snow globe and the backdrop was painted on. I stopped at a gas station. The clerk stared at me like he didn't know what to do with a human being who wasn't reading from a script. I asked him the date. Wednesday, he said, barely looking up. I pressed him. What was yesterday? He paused. Then blinked. I think it was Tuesday. He sounded uncertain. As if he was guessing. I asked him his name. He stuttered. I don't know. Weird, right? It's on the, hang on. He turned to look at his name tag, and there wasn't one. He just stared at his own chest like he expected something to be there. I left. Back home, hours later, bananas back. On the counter. No garbage in the bin. No broken alarm clock. No stolen car in the driveway. Just the world rewound. Except, there's one thing. At the bus stop, there's always a woman in a red coat. Every day, reading the same book, flipping the same page over and over. I see her from my window. I noticed today, she wasn't there. Gone. And no one said a word? Not Mark. Not his girlfriend. Not the people on the street. Like she never existed at all. I was up before the alarm today. 6:41 a.m. eyes open. Heart already racing. I didn't sleep. I just waited. For the sky to brighten. For the same gray light to seep in through the blinds like it always does. But it felt heavier today. The light. Like it had to fight its way through. I didn't bother checking the news. I already knew what the headline would be. I stared out the window instead, at the bus stop. The woman in the red coat was still gone. At first, I thought maybe I had imagined her. My brain scrambling to make sense of a pattern by inventing pieces that never existed. I do that sometimes, fill in blanks. Make stories out of nothing. But no. I know what I saw. She was there, every day before this. Same time. Same page. Always turning it with her gloved fingers like it was some ritual. And now, nothing. I asked the guy on the corner about her. The one who sells knockoff sunglasses from a table. He looked at me like I'd asked him to recite a poem in Latin. What woman? The one who stands right there. Red coat. Short hair. Reading. He frowned, looked genuinely puzzled. Nobody stands there. He was right. Nobody did. I spent most of the day wandering. Watching. Counting faces. Trying to spot the changes. The couple on the sidewalk were still there. Arguing again. But something was off. It took me a while to figure it out. There was less background noise. Fewer conversations. The city still looked the same, but it sounded emptier. Like someone had turned down the population by a notch. At work, Melissa didn't show up. I asked John. Where's Melissa? He squinted at me. Who? I felt ice crawl up my spine. Melissa. HR, blonde. Big laugh. Says happy Wednesday every damn day. He shrugged. We don't have a Melissa in HR. I checked the company directory. She wasn't there. Not just missing, erased. I know she existed. I remember her laugh. Her perfume. The way she used to wear 2 different earrings without noticing. I remember. But no one else does. The world is shrinking. And I'm the only one who notices. I walked through the heart of downtown today. At first glance, everything looked normal. Cars on the road. Lights in windows. People at crosswalks. But if you stood still long enough, really still, you could feel it. Something was missing. It's like walking into a room where someone just left. There's a temperature shift. A quiet that doesn't sit right. A sense of presence where there shouldn't be one. Or maybe a lack of it where there should. More people are gone. I counted. I started counting. The barista at the corner cafe, gone. The girl with the shaved head who always jogs past the library around noon, gone. The guy who plays saxophone outside the metro station, gone. No one noticed. They vanished from the world and the memory of it. I asked around. People looked at me like I was bothering them with trivia. At work, half the office was empty. No chatter. No emails. No petty complaints about the printer. The kitchen was quiet. Even the humming from the fridge sounded louder than the people. When I asked my boss if we were short-staffed, he blinked slowly and said, "No, I don't think so." Then he just went back to typing. Typing nonsense, I'm sure. I looked over his shoulder. Rows of a single word over and over. Function. I'm starting to believe they're not people anymore. They're placeholders. Dressed-up mannequins on tracks. But then came the worst part. I saw the photo. A photo on my desk. It's been there for years. Me, James, and Talia. From that camping trip, before the accident. But now it's just me and James. Talia's gone. Erased. I flipped the photo over. There was handwriting on the back, faded now, but I remember writing it. 3 of us. Bad coffee. Cold lake. Best weekend ever. Now it just says, 2 of us. Even the memory is changing. But not mine. I still remember her. Her laugh. The way she hummed when she was thinking. The scar on her left shoulder from falling off her bike as a kid. I remember her. And that terrifies me more than anything else. Because if I remember, and no one else does, how long until I'm next? I saw someone today I've never seen before. Which is saying something in this place. Every face, every corner, every flickering fluorescent light, I've seen them all. Over and over. Days piled on top of each other until they're sticky with repetition. But this figure? No. This one's new. It happened around 3 p.m. I was sitting on the edge of the fountain downtown, just watching people blur past in their routines. The water always makes the same sound, by the way. Same rhythm, like someone hit loop on a 10-second audio file. That's when I noticed him. Across the street. He wasn't walking. He wasn't moving at all. He was just standing there, wedged between the frame of a bus shelter and a closed bakery. No phone, no bag. Black coat too long. Shoulders stiff, like he was bracing against wind, but there wasn't any. And he was staring. Not at the street. Not at the people. At me. I did a double take. Looked behind me to see if maybe he was looking at someone else. But no. It was me. His face, God, I hate writing this, it didn't look wrong, exactly. Just off. Like it wasn't quite finished. Like someone tried to remember what a human face should be and got most of it right, but gave up halfway through the eyes. They were empty. Not dead, not angry. Just vacant. We locked eyes, if you can call it that, for maybe 10 seconds. Then I blinked, and he was gone. I crossed the street. Fast. Looked behind the bus shelter, down the alley. Nothing. He just vanished. That was hours ago. But even now, I can still feel where he was. Like that patch of air is still watching me. I don't know what he is. But he's not like the others. They don't notice me. They forget. Reset. He saw me. And he remembered. I tried to find him again today. The man in the too long black coat. I waited at the same fountain, same time. I scanned every shadow, every storefront, every alley mouth like I was looking for a crack in the wall. He didn't come. But something else did. It started subtle. I was walking back toward my apartment when I passed a man reading a newspaper on a bench. Nothing unusual, except when I looked at the headline, it just said, "Text missing." No article. No photo. Just those words. I stopped. Stared. He turned the page. Same thing. Text missing. Text missing. Over and over. When I asked him what he was reading, he smiled politely and said, "News." "What's it about?" I pressed. "Important things," he said without blinking. "Important things are happening." Then he turned another page. Text missing. I backed away. Later, on the walk home, I passed a cafe. The same cafe I've seen 100 times now. I used to go there sometimes, before all this started. They had a lemon tart I liked. But today, I saw something through the window that made me stop cold. Inside, behind the counter, a woman stood frozen mid-pour, coffee suspended in midair, caught between pot and cup like gravity had paused. Not a drop moved. The customer on the other side of the counter had his hand outstretched, waiting for change. But his fingers didn't twitch. His eyes didn't blink. They were frozen. Like a paused video. I stepped inside, heart hammering. No one moved. I waved my hand in front of the woman's face. Nothing. I shouted. Clapped. Nothing. Then I looked down. The coffee in the pot wasn't moving. It looked real, smelled real, but it wasn't flowing. Like a prop made too well. And on the cash register screen, instead of numbers, it just said, "Placeholder." I stumbled out of there. Ran 3 blocks. Didn't stop until I hit the park. Collapsed onto a bench, lungs burning. The world is breaking down. It's not just people disappearing anymore. It's like the framework itself is starting to rot. Like someone built this place to simulate reality, but now they've stopped maintaining it. And I'm still here. Stuck in the glitch. Today, I wrote down every person I could remember. Names. Faces. Voices. Tiny details. Talia, scar on her shoulder. Melissa, wore 1 dangly earring and 1 stud. John, vending machine jokes. The red coat woman. Mark and his girlfriend. The saxophone player outside the metro. The barista. The guy who used to yell at pigeons near the library. I filled 6 pages in a spiral notebook. Carefully. Slowly. I even sketched some of their faces, badly, but enough to feel like I was holding on to something. Because they're all gone now. Every single one. The office is empty. I don't mean understaffed, I mean abandoned. Cubicles like tombstones. Screens flickering with error messages. Coffee pot cold. The hallway lights flicker more than they used to. The hum of the AC is louder than footsteps. I walked the whole floor. Nothing. The only sound I heard all day was from the stairwell. A slow, rhythmic tapping. Like something metal against concrete. Tap. 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 I didn't open the door. Outside, the streets were even worse. It's not silent, yet. But it's thinner. Like sound is being rationed. A car passed me without an engine noise. I saw people moving in a diner, but their mouths didn't match any sound. The world's playing on mute now. I went back to the fountain. Sat alone. Waited. And then, he was there again. The man in the black coat. Across the street. Same place. Only this time, he wasn't looking at me. He was facing away. Staring down the empty sidewalk like he was waiting for something. I crossed the street slowly. When I got close, I said, "What is this?" He didn't turn. Just said, "It's almost done." His voice was dry. Flat. Like someone reading from a script in a dead language. "What is?" I asked. He didn't answer. Just started walking. I followed him for 6 blocks. Then, without warning, he turned a corner and vanished. There was no alley. Just a brick wall. No door. No gate. Just solid stone. I touched it. Still warm. I didn't hear a single voice today. Not one. No street arguments. No bus rumble. No music from the open window above the bakery. No hollow laughter echoing from bar patios. Just the sound of my own shoes, and even that felt artificial. Like someone added it in post-production to keep me from noticing the silence too fast. The world looks the same at first glance. Traffic lights still change. Storefronts still light up. Crosswalk signals still blink. Walk. But there's no one to walk anymore. I counted 7 people all day. 7. None of them looked at me. 3 sat motionless on a bench, blinking in perfect sync. 1 crossed the street but never reached the other side, just kept walking down the white lines like he forgot where he was going. The rest just stood. Still. Frozen. Like they were waiting for instructions that would never come. I saw a mirror in a department store. Caught my own reflection by accident. I didn't recognize myself. My eyes looked older. Tired in a way that didn't belong to my face. My skin had that drawn-out look like I'd been awake for days, even though I sleep every night. Sort of. When I touched the glass, there was no temperature. I opened the spiral notebook again, the one with all the names. Some of the ink had started to fade. Only a few letters at first. Then whole lines. Talia's name is gone now. I wrote it again. Deep. Pressed the pen until it nearly tore the page. It faded 10 minutes later. I think the world is trying to erase the memory of itself. Every name I remember is a splinter it wants to pull out. Tonight, I walked back to the fountain. It was dry. The water, gone. The smell of chlorine replaced with dust and rust. I stood in the center. Shouted. I'm still here. My voice didn't echo. It just vanished. I woke up with a start today, only for the silence to greet me like an old, bitter friend. I tried to shake off the numbness from yesterday, but it clung to my skin like a second layer, cold and unyielding. I walked around the neighborhood, desperate for any sign of what used to be. The streets were dimmer, as if the light itself was fading away. Every mirrored window I passed, shopfronts, the side of a building, reflected not a familiar face, but a version of me that was almost a stranger. The eyes that peered back were hollow, laden with the despair I didn't know I carried until now. I couldn't tell if I was crying or just seeing the wear of my own memories. Every reflection was a ghost of who I was supposed to be. I tried to call out, to command someone, anyone, to tell me that this wasn't all real. But no voice answered back. Every time I spoke, my words were absorbed into the heavy air like a secret that wasn't meant to be heard. On the corner, I found a bus stop that used to be bustling with commuters. Today, only one man lingered, a figure in a threadbare coat whose face was almost too gaunt. I approached him, my voice trembling. Do you know what's happening? Please. He looked at me with empty eyes for a long time until he whispered. It's fading. Everything's fading away. Names, faces, memories. Then he turned and melted into the long shadows, leaving me with the echo of his words. Back at home, I stared at the notebook full of names. It was as if an unseen hand was erasing each one by one, not a scratch or smudge, but a slow, deliberate vanishing. I tried to salvage a memory of Talia's smile, of Melissa's laugh, but the ink resisted my grip. Each letter felt fragile, almost as if I was writing on glass that could shatter at the slightest touch. I can't tell if I'm sinking into darkness or if the darkness is seeping into every corner of the world. I am terrified to sleep, yet resting feels like surrendering the last pieces of myself. As I lay in bed, I heard the slow drip of water, a single, persistent drop that reminded me of a metronome counting down my final moments before I too disappear. It's hard to say how long I stood in front of the mirror this morning. Just looking. Not at my face. Through it. The edges of my reflection were flickering. Like an old video file, corrupted and skipping frames. Sometimes I blinked and my face didn't. Sometimes I moved, but the mirror didn't follow. That's when I realized something. There were no sounds anymore. Not quiet. Not silence. Just absence. No distant traffic. No wind in the trees. No hum from the fridge. Not even the ticking of the wall clock. I checked it, by the way. The second hand wasn't moving. None of the clocks work anymore. Outside, the world felt smaller. Like I wasn't walking through a city, but a set built just big enough for me to think it was one. The streets looped in ways they shouldn't. I passed the same storefront 3 times without turning around. The 4th time, it was boarded up. Graffiti had appeared where there was none before. Just one word, scrawled in huge, frantic strokes across a concrete wall. Forgotten. I don't think I'm in the world anymore. I think I'm in what's left of it. Only 2 people I recognize are still here, me, and the man in the black coat. I saw him again. Standing in the middle of an empty intersection. Just standing. When I approached, he turned toward me. This time, he smiled. It was the most terrifying thing I've ever seen. Not because it was grotesque, but because it was kind. Pitying. Like he knew exactly what I was feeling. Like he'd watched 1,000 others go through the same thing. I asked him again. What is this? What's happening? He didn't answer with words. He held out his hand. And in it, something that looked like my notebook, but smaller, thinner, more worn. I took it. Pages brittle as ash. Inside were names. Hundreds. Thousands. Each one carefully written, and crossed out. Every page a list. Every list fading. At the bottom of the final page was one name left uncrossed. Mine. I'm writing this from a room I don't remember entering. There are no windows. No doors either, not anymore. Just 4 walls that feel closer every hour, painted in a color I can't name. It's not white. It's not gray. It's the color of forgetting. The notebook, the one the man gave me, is lying beside me. My name's still there. Still the only one not crossed out. But the ink is fading. I've rewritten it 10 times now. Darker, harder, shaking fingers pressing the pen like a knife. Doesn't matter. Every time I blink, it gets lighter. I looked in the mirror again, what's left of one. Just a shard, embedded in the far wall like it got punched through reality and stuck there. I didn't see myself this time. There was no reflection. Just a blank void. Like the glass was trying to reflect me but didn't have a reference anymore. I screamed. For the first time in I don't even know how many cycles. I screamed until my throat tore and my chest rattled. And there was still no echo. This world has no weight left. No depth. The buildings are hollow shells. The sky no longer shifts. Just that same washed-out blue, too smooth, too static. Like someone forgot how to texture the sky. The trees don't move. No birds. No wind. The clouds have stopped changing shape. Today, I tried writing a letter to myself. To the me who existed before this started. I wanted to remind him who he was. Who he loved. What mattered. But the moment I finished it, the paper turned blank in my hands. Like the world rejected it. Like it refuses to carry the weight of memory. I haven't seen the man in the black coat again. I think that was his goodbye. And I think I understand now. This place, this loop, it wasn't meant to trap me. It was meant to erase me. One person at a time. Quietly. Thoroughly. Until there's no one left to remember the world ever existed at all. I woke up today. Not to the alarm. That's gone now. Just silence. Complete. Absolute. Not even the sound of breath. I had to press my fingers to my chest just to feel it move. There was no banana on the counter. No blinking clock. No light coming through the blinds. In fact, no blinds. Just walls. Everything is blank. I left the apartment. The hallway was gone. There was no door. I stepped forward anyway, and somehow, I was outside. Or what's left of outside. There are outlines of buildings, faded grayed. Like chalk sketches smudged by a careless hand. No windows. No signs. No depth. Just shapes pretending to be real. No people. No watchers. No man in the coat. I walked for hours, or maybe it was seconds. There's no time here anymore. Just space that loops in on itself like a snake eating its own tail. I tried yelling again. Tried whispering. Nothing. My voice doesn't work here. I think I'm not supposed to have one anymore. When I looked at the notebook, the final page was gone. My name no longer there. No marks. No ink. Just paper, clean and untouched. Like I was never written down to begin with. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I wasn't real to begin with. I tried to remember Talia's face today. Really remember it. Every curve of her cheek, the way she laughed when she was trying not to. I held on to the image like a lifeline. But it slipped. Slipped like a dream does in the morning. And now I can't even picture my own face. I think that's the final step. You don't disappear all at once. You vanish from memory first. And when the last person forgets you ever existed, you stop existing. The loop is over now. There's no one left to reset it. No one left to notice. No one left to ask questions. Just a blank world and a blank page. And when I'm gone, not even that.